intermittently, and this whole concept was really interesting to me. So I came tonight to learn a little bit, see how everybody interacts, and work from there.
Yep, so this is we do every fourth Wednesday is our happy hour meeting. So we kind of just chit chat. If there's any club business that needs to be handled or whatever, we do that. But fourth Wednesday, did I say Friday again? Fourth Wednesday is the happy hour meeting. On the first, second, and third Wednesdays, we usually have a speaker. We had a really cool speaker last week. It was about the research he's doing into Alzheimer's, and it was really cool. Really. Are you familiar with Rotary at all in general?
Yes, I am. I have a very good friend who is one of the founding families of Rotary. I'm originally from Chicago, and yeah, and one of my good friends for many years was very, very, very involved, and so I have just kind of that thumbnail sort of view into it. So, but this kind of taking it to a different place. One of the things I'll kind of throw in there is I run one of the largest all-women's motorcycle groups here in Texas. There are almost 700, and we're creeping up on 750 members. And so, obviously, I have a lot about community. I'm a big believer in community building and things like that, and I love the opportunity just to do good things. We work a lot of different charitable events, and you name it. I mean, right now this weekend I have one for a guy who is going to be riding the Hoka Hay Challenge. One of my women riders out of Austin, she actually completed it last year. I got a couple more in the works, but we don't only do that. We do a lot of work with veterans. One of my really passionate places tends to be like the Houston area Women's Center, and working with victims of domestic violence and things like that. What can we do to make people's lives better?
Awesome. Do you work with the is it BACA? Is that what they're called? The Bikers Against Child Abuse?
Yeah, BACA.
I do not, but I do have a lot of friends, so you never know.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to look into for this Rotary year, is see what we could do about getting together with BACA and doing some kind of ride. So cool. Thanks for joining us. That's awesome that you're from Chicago. I think a lot of us, let's see if I'm looking across the top. Keith, are you a Michigander who's relocated as well? Maybe Keith's not, but I'm from Michigan. Rory's from Michigan. Is it just the two of us today? And then there's a bunch of us from the Ontario side of Canada. But so our club.
Jerry's from Michigan.
Yeah, Jerry's from Michigan. There are a bunch of us who are.
Jerry's hiding in Wisconsin right now.
Yeah, he's riding everywhere. He even packed up the trailer.
I lived 3 years in Michigan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we all have a touch point with some sort, but we because we're an E-Club, we have to be attached to a Rotary district, and our district 6390 is not Detroit, but everything around Detroit, and then a little sliver over into Ontario, so Chatham, Blenheim, that area over in Ontario. So a lot of us came from that original district. But we've got Alan Buxton there he's joining us tonight as a guest. He's actually in England. Glenn is in Bel Air. Let's see, David lives down in Georgia. Brian's in Florida. I'm doing better, right, guys? Obviously, Uta is in Houston. Terry's in Virginia. Terry, you're in Virginia, right? Southern Virginia? Just kidding.
Me.
South Carolina. North Carolina, that's right. Keith is in Virginia with me.
Yeah.
Tom is in Marco Island, Florida. I'm trying, Ron. I'm trying to remember where you are. Ron Mead is on the West Coast somewhere.
Naples, I think.
California.
Here in California. Whereabouts?
Central Coast, yeah.
Whereabouts?
Actually Santa Margarita. It's about 100 miles north of Santa Barbara.
That's right.
Almost
we talked
exactly
about that.
between LA and San Francisco.
Yep. We talked about that because I've actually been there, oddly, on one of my jumps down the coast from Monterey. We went down to see the elephant seal, a really cute little cafe in Santa Margarita. So,
Yeah, we rode by that just the other day.
That's when my husband and I were dating, and he moved out to California so we could do our pre-Cana Catholic stuff. And I had zero money. I think I was bringing home like $300 a month in the Army. And so we like to tell the kids, like when mom and dad were dating, we'd go down and we'd walk on the pier and we'd get a coffee. We'd get a singular coffee and we'd split it. So the extent of my travel when we lived in California was how much gas can I afford to put in my 3-cylinder Geo Metro this weekend? We drive down the coast.
My husband and I, we've been on the move for the last couple of years. We went from Chicago to Maryland to Minneapolis, and we've now been in Houston about six plus years. And every so often he'll grumble, and I'll be like, no, I like it here. It's like, no, I'm not moving again. I'm not picking all that stuff up again. No, you got that wrong.
I have stuff in boxes that still has the moving tags from my very first Army move in 1999. I'm like, why do I have this stuff?
Yeah, I have just moved too much stuff. Imagine, oh my goodness, 2 cars, 2 motorcycles, and a house full of stuff, and he would just go off and leave me to deal with it. So I was like, no, that's not happening again. So now it's 3 motorcycles, and it's like, yeah, no, they're reproducing when I don't look. It's like, don't look in the garage.
Do you work outside the house?
I actually have a managed IT services and digital marketing company. So it's kind of a mixed bag. I work out of the house, but right now I'm in the middle. We finally decided for the first time in about 2 years that we wanted an office space again. So we're kind of like, yay, we'll have somewhere to run away to and hide. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, someday. We're all looking forward to getting the heck out of the house right now, I think.
Yes.
I think Brian's the only one who gets to venture out for work.
And she's always big invited in the rodeo in Houston.
Nice.
Yes, I do. I work. I've been now. This was my 5th year of Houston Rodeo, and it was something that it's funny. I joined the rodeo. I volunteered for it. I had never been to the Houston Rodeo, so I went in completely blind. But I love what I do. I'm a gatekeeper. There's about 30 or 40 different committees, and there's about 36,000 volunteers. So it's huge, but I love what I do. And it's a once a year, it's a once a year thing, but we've always got something going on. We're always planning something. We're talking about what we're going to do the next season. And I've just been really super involved with it since I got involved. So as I said, next year will be year 6 for me. It's fun.
I'd like to say I could never live in Houston because it's too hot, but I think the heat index here today was 108. So
yeah, well, that's the hard part. Coming from the Midwest. Now, when I go home in the middle of summer, I go up to Chicago, Michigan, I'll stand outside and I'll be like, oh my God, it's so nice. It's so nice. And they're like sweating. And I'm like, yeah, wow, I've changed.
Yeah, for sure. We were in Colorado a couple weeks. It was 90 and people were just whining and whining and whining. It was like 90 degrees and 7% humidity. And I know,
we
right?
would love it, right, Deb?
Oh my God, yeah. I love the mountains. I love my husband and I love it out in Nevada. And I've been out there in the middle. I had a good friend who got married actually in June in Nevada, outdoors. I mean, and we were like, why are we walking around inside an oven? Because I've never felt a breeze and have it be hot. It was so strange.
Where is this Nevada that you speak of? I think you're talking about the state of Nevada, right? Not Nevada.
Well,
I'm just checking.
I'll tell you, my pronunciation changes because let me tell you, and Texans, oh my God, take a look at our map and look at some of those town names. And I have friends who are like, that's not how you pronounce it. I'm like, sorry, I'm not from here. And
yeah.
It's just the way it is.
If you come from Nevada, you get a little bit, what's the word? Grumbly about people calling it Nevada. So
here when people are from like, Palacio, and you're looking at it, you're like, there are words here that you're like, there are too many letters. I don't get how you pronounce it.
I thought it's only my business, with the squirrels and everything like that. That's not mine at all,
It is really strange, you know, when you're out and when you talk about hill country here, and you start to look at the names of some of the towns in hill country, and there's one, there's a big Harley Davidson dealership there, and it's actually how you pronounce it is Bernie, but it's Boerne, and you're like, how do you get? Okay.
Well, that's the Germans. That's the Germans, man. Yeah, Unta knows. Yeah, like the grocery store back home that's Beeke's, but it's Bueches. You know.
Oh yeah.
I've got to throw in on this one because we get accused in England of spelling things and sounding them different. But over in your place, you've got a place called Kansas, Kansas. But you put a letter A in front of it, it becomes Arkansas. Can you explain that?
You know, I don't think anybody can explain Arkansas, quite frankly. But
in German, we say to Arkansas, we say Arkansas.
Arkansas. I have a friend who insists it's Arkansas, actually. It's pretty funny. There's actually beautiful writing up in the northwest corner, but, you know, it's like, yeah, it's a strange little state.
So what Deb and I talked about it was, you know, of course, that she is very interested to join us in the Rotary Club. So, and I think it was a big plus, you know, have something more in the South and build something up. And we talked about that we would like to support some projects over here. Like what she said, one of the things what we really interested because, and that was something what we can really good do with the women's group is to support the women's shelters, right? Over here, not more, I would like to make it one, but this is what we talked about, what we thought about it. And I think it would be to give the women a little bit more space in the Rotary Club. And I think it's not a bad idea to bring the Houston women closer to the district, right?
I think so. And actually, Uter, you know who brought you up out of the blue? Do you remember Michelle Warren? Blonde hair.
Yes.
Michelle was like, oh, you're talking to Uter about Rotary? So I know you've been laying a little bit of foundation in there, which I think is good. We have people that, there are people, writers are a different breed. And you've got some who are like 110%, okay, what can we do for other people? You know, what can we be supporting? What can we be doing? And others who are just like, hey, I'm just here to take a ride. It's all good, you know. But I think, we want to look for those people who are looking to develop a, more, be more involved in the community. And I don't think we're barking up the wrong tree in any way. I think we can do this. I think I'm connected to a lot of people, obviously. And I think that we have a lot of opportunity here because this is such a different concept. When people think of Rotary, they think of the weekly meeting. I mean, they think of, I'm going to have to go to a weekly meeting. And it's like, no, this was super easy. And literally I told, my husband and my mom, I'm like, y'all going to be, feeding yourselves tonight. I'll be, be down later after this meeting is over. And that's that. And I think there's so much potential and so many people that we can tap into. And especially if we're looking to grow with women, there's a couple of influential women that I know that I think could be good, positive additions to this.
We talked about a healthy growing, not, make a lot of members and cannot handle it. And the end, it have to make sense. It's not about only putting members together. It's really to make something and make a difference.
So yeah, this year, the push from Rotary International this year isn't necessarily to grow, it's to maintain the base, right? And that's what they're saying is that in the past, what we've done is we've grown too rapidly to the point where we haven't been able to maintain our base and take care of our membership, so people jump off. And so the push this year is to do what we can to grow intelligently, which like you said, is, maintain the base, make sure your people are happy and engaged and enjoying what they're doing, and then people will come to that. So Keith has agreed to be our membership committee, even though I've missed the fact that he's an honorary, he's an associate member. So if there's anybody from the active membership who would like to be a co-chair, that would be super helpful because he's not going to be able to pull by himself. He wouldn't be able to pull the information out of Rotary International's databases to do that stuff. So if anybody, it'll be in the email that I send out tonight, asking you guys to do that. I'm going to send an email with an update on where we are and where the club is headed, introduce the new committee members, etc. So I'll just put that plug out there for Keith, who did volunteer, and I greatly appreciate that, to be the chair of the membership committee. So if there's any active membership who would like to co-chair, I will happily accept. So Deborah, I lost you. Everybody shifted.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you the one who put together the alphabet ride with?
Yes, yes, that was me. It was, there's a woman that I've now introduced to Uter because she was the one who came to us with it. And we love the idea of trying to put together, you know, just for fun. I mean, this was truly done on the basis of fun, but literally go to towns that they begin with that letter. And I know Uter had more conversation with her because it was one of, I think, 3 different challenges that they had developed. The name of her group, their club is called the Southern Cruisers. And so they must be of a decent size. And she's, once again, you know, this is the crazy universe we live in. I had met her, I've ridden with her a couple times, and she kind of opened this up to everybody else, saying, hey, you know, it's just for fun. So I think one day somebody caught me talking about it on a different feed, and that's kind of how some conversations started.
So there are a bunch of people on tonight. There's so much funny how many people show up for the happy hour meeting. But people on tonight who haven't heard, who don't really know what we're talking about. So just for background, everybody, Uta mentioned that Deborah and part of her group, they're doing a ride, a virtual points-based thing where you have to visit a city that starts with each letter of the alphabet.
But this is not virtual.
Oh, that's not virtual. I guess it's not necessarily all at the same time though. So it's not virtual, but you do go and you visit all the cities and there's a points system. So Uta and Deborah have provided that information to us as far as what the structure looks like for the ride. And we've decided that that would be a good thing for our club to do. So we're going to go ahead and do that this year as one of our, we're going to try to turn it into a fundraiser for Polio Plus, I believe, Uta.
Yeah.
So just be on the lookout for that. We'll be talking a little bit more in depth once we understand. So Deborah, we will probably invite you to a meeting just to make sure that we've got our poop in a group when it comes to, you know, administering this thing. And at that point, that's when you will become a full-time member, and we'll put you on the services project committee and see, then you can't back out.
I see how this works. Okay.
Master plan. This is, yeah, it's a gateway.
I blame her. I'm blaming her.
She's over there for me.
Is she over there for you?
Yes.
No, I'm looking forward to it. You know, we're always trying to find things to get people engaged. You know, and my goal, just to give at least a little background so people know where I came from. When I moved up to Minneapolis, I was a new rider. I didn't know anybody, and so I found a group through Meetup, and it was a women's riding group. And they had over 300 members, and they would, you know, you would just throw rides out there. Hey, we're going to go ride here. But it was nice because when you don't know anyone, you know, you're looking for a way to get out there and do that. Well, now I come to Houston and I know no one, and I started meeting people slowly, and I put the group, you know, I started the group, and then I can honestly tell you the women's market has just exploded. It's super crazy. But we're always looking for opportunities. So it's like, hey, you know, I encourage people every day, hey, if you're going to go ride somewhere, invite, see if other people want to go. And the one thing that I'm really, really proud of is it managed to introduce people that otherwise would not have met. And so I look at this right now as an opportunity to meet a bunch of people that obviously I wouldn't have known otherwise. So coming up with an activity is just really helpful. So I'm really glad we're doing it.
and it was funny when I still know we saw each other, right? Deb, she invited me, and we saw us on a meeting. You know, we made a trip to a restaurant, and then we talked a little bit, and then last year, you remember, I was with the Houston Rotary on the International Convention in Hamburg, and one of our Houston members, it's in the rodeo family. So he actually works with her together. And then he posted something in Hamburg, and then she saw the pictures, and she said, I know this woman next to him, you know. She had it not in the combination with Rotary, she had it in the combination with only the motorcycles. But then we get connected in this, and she was like, okay, now it makes sense, you know.
Oh, it was hilarious, because I'm like, wait a minute, they're like how many thousands of miles away from Houston, and they're sitting at the same table? Wait a minute. So it is very entertaining. Yeah. He's now my team captain for rodeo. So
yeah,
it's amazing how small the world is when you're willing to talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you are a Rotarian, okay.
I'll share a story. I have a good friend from high school who was an exchange student from Czech Republic to my high school in Holly. And we struck up a conversation. We're talking about exchange programs. He's one of the reasons I became an exchange student. Long story short, he moved back home and then moved back to Michigan, ended up marrying a girl from our high school, and they live out in Denver now.
Oh, wow. So
Michigan, right? Michigan to Denver. So I saw on LinkedIn that he had changed jobs, and it said, congratulate him on his new job as creative director of Red Canary Technologies. And I went, wait a minute. One of my good friends from Virginia is a founder of Red Canary Technologies. So I sent him a note, and I was like, okay, totally weird, but so it was just funny how that all, like, how do you connect Michigan to Denver to Virginia? It is a very small world when you're willing to talk to everybody. I think all of us, I don't know, I think all of us are talkers, especially Rob from Bel Air, Maryland. He's probably the most talkative person we have in our entire club. And maybe Blair. Oh, let's see. Who did I not pick on tonight? Thank you, Rory. I see it.
We haven't had anything from Linda yet.
She keeps herself on mute so we don't hear her swearing under her breath at everything we're saying, actually. We all know that's true, Linda.
No, I have a smoke detector that keeps chirping. You don't want to listen to that.
That is the world's worst thing.
Yeah.
Is it on the 12-foot ceiling? Because that's generally where they are.
Yep.
Oh, hear it. So it echoes through the house too.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Keeping it.
Doesn't it drive you mad if it keeps chirping?
I thought there was a rule that chirping only happens in the middle of the night, so that you're lying in bed staring at your ceiling, cursing.
And trying to figure out where it is.
It's like, how many detectives are in this house and what is going on?
Hi, David's friend. Who's your friend, Mr. Doherty? Oh, wait, let me unmute you.
Mr. Doherty.
Oh, you're still muted.
Can't get out of it.
There you go. Now you're good.
That's my baby boy, 6'7", 6'8", all inches of him. My baby. In fact, we just recently moved here to his town, Evansville, Indiana, and he has 3 little girls that we spend a fair amount of time taking care of. So that's become our new life, my wife and I.
That sounds like a
Jennifer and I enjoy
fantastic,
it a lot.
fantastic life. Does your son have a name?
Congratulations.
Benji, Ben.
Hi, Benji. Ben. Hi, Ben.
Big Ben.
Big Ben.
I like to think I'm 6'7" as well.
Yeah. You said you're what, 5'1"?
Yeah, 5'2". Mm-hmm.
5'2", who's
Yeah.
quibbling?
My 5'12" is enough for me, so.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you put Evansville. So that's, Evansville, right? Indiana?
Right, we moved here April 9th. So we're still, somebody talked about moving in boxes. We're still dealing with some boxes, although we pretty well have that wrestled to the ground, which is kind of nice. But sooner or later, we'll get rid of the extraneous boxes and life will go on. But we have a brand new house and a whole new area, and we're kind of getting adjusted to living here and having a whole new lifestyle and everything else.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Ben says we're quarantining here rather than in Ohio.
I mean, anywhere's better than Ohio, really.
Ohio just closed the whole state down, so there you go.
Virginia just got added to the you can't come here list for New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. So I guess we won't be going to New York anytime soon.
Or Florida or Texas
Or anywhere else. I actually just, I had half a bottle of wine and convinced myself to cancel the Disney trip a couple of days ago.
Yeah, we still have reservations for September in Disney, not Disney, but just in our timeshare, and I think we're going to cancel that.
Yep, that's where we did too, is our timeshare. We, it's okay. I'm fine. It's fine. This is fine.
Where's your timeshare?
Well, it's where the heck is it? It's Orlando.
Ah, yeah, we're just south of there in Sarasota.
Right.
And we bit the bullet and actually got a Disney property.
We have that timeshare, but I think we've only been in it once since we got it several years ago. We tend to go to Colorado and down into the islands and places like that. So that works out nicely. Much rather do that than go to Orlando anyway.
Yeah, my kids are young enough and we enjoy still going to, well, young enough. I mean, they're 16 and 19, but they still enjoy going to Disney.
Ben has a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 9-year-old. So that was
All
going
girls.
to be
All girls. Yeah, that's awesome. That's well played for hand-me-down clothes. Good job, Ben.
It is. Yeah. So there you go.
Bye.
See you, Ben.
Nice to meet you.
Little Ben.
Yeah, little Ben. I don't know how tall you are, David. My children somehow got tall. My husband and I are from Lilliputian stock, and somehow I have a son who's 5'10" and a daughter who's already 5'6".
Yeah. I have 4 sons. I had 4 sons. One passed away, but they were 4 of the 6 were 6'4" and above. Ben was the tallest, 6'7", 6'8". But my son that was 6 foot was our midget.
I've got, we're kind of a dysfunctional Brady bunch in my family. I'm one of 6 kids, but none of us have the same parents.
Speak for yourself. I'm tall.
He's not tall, get out of here. But I have a brother who's 6'2" and a brother who's 5'4".
Yeah.
So we're all over the place.
6'2", 5'4", right?
I can give you some, Amanda.
Can you give me some? Thank you. I would like to know why it is that the German genes skip me. It's kind of unfair.
But not every German is tall.
Not well. Most of them in my family are, except those
Yeah.
darn Irish got in there and messed it all up. And you know.
Oh, the Irish. Don't let the Irish listen now. That's not nice.
We're Irish German, so
Me and everybody else in Michigan.
I'm only original German. I have nothing.
We're actually, so I'm Welsh on my dad's side, but my Welsh family all ended up in Australia. We can all, I don't know how that happened.
I don't know.
But we're German on both my sides of the family. My mom's dad is one of 13 and the first 7 were born in Munich. So we're fairly new to Michigan. Actually, we came over to Hamilton, Ontario first.
You said in Munich?
Yep.
So,
München. My family comes out of München.
Aus München. So
Hey,
then I'm sure
yeah,
the air must be good, the hormones must be good, and so many kids come from Munich, right?
Hey, Amanda, I saw where your bicycle was stolen in Colorado Springs. Did you ever get it back?
No, I didn't get it back. I just kind of like, I've come to the mental place that I'm okay with it. Apparently there is a bicycle shortage. I don't know if you guys are aware of this.
Oh,
I
there
learned the
is,
hard
yeah.
way. You can't buy a bike right now anywhere. So I was laughing and I don't think I put it in that post, but so they cut the lock on my brand new bike rack, which is actually the thing that made me the maddest. But they took my husband's really nice Scott bicycle off of it. Hydraulic brakes and hydraulic shifting, but it's black. and they took my son's blue Giant, which is pretty base model, and that's what they took. They left the 2 most expensive bikes and took his blue bike. But it's got to be just from a resale standpoint because it's blue, right? But that's okay. So what we ended up doing out in Colorado, we rented a couple bikes for one day, and we just rode. We just did trail, like not off-road riding, which was fun. But we ended up hiking more. We went horseback riding. It was actually really nice to be out and about and not have to be in places where you had to worry about social distancing. There's not a lot of social distancing that needs to be done when you're at 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
But
We've been
nice.
collecting push bikes here to send them out to Africa. They're getting fewer and farther between. Our club has just done, I think, 130 odd bikes. And what they do, they recondition them. And so instead of the children having to walk 4 or 5 miles to school, which takes a couple of hours, they cycle. So it helps with education.
That's nice. Yeah, we I guess there's just a big shortage because people are getting into riding because they've got nothing,
Actually,
et cetera.
Nothing to do, so time-wise,
because of where they're
it's a great thing. Yeah, there's a big shortage of bikes.
Yeah, what were you saying, Deb?
they're actually the biggest problem is bikes are not manufactured here. A lot of them are manufactured in China. So yes, now that everyone has been kind of off and wanting to get physically fit and all that, they were going out and they were buying them, but we couldn't import them because of what was going on. So yeah, there's a huge shortage of bicycles right now. It is super crazy.
Yeah, and it's actually almost impossible to get any work done on the bikes right now too. That was the other issue that I had was that I thrashed my bike right before we left and I couldn't get it fixed. So we actually went out there with one less bike than we planned anyway. So it just wasn't a bike riding year, which is probably good. I'd like to think that maybe it's because one of us was going to get hurt. So I'll just take it. Right? But, yeah, I got on my bike and I was doing tune-ups on all the bikes and I was like, my front suspension doesn't move at all. And I took it apart and realized that I'm not capable of putting it back together. So, yeah.
So I just went to Giant's website about 3 weeks ago and bought a bike, and they have some good inventory, and it just showed up at the front door. The guy from the bike shop he's closed, but you know, the Giant bikes, they ship it to the shop, they like fix it up, and then they bring it to you.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And yeah, and I'm in love with the thing. I've been riding it to the hospital every day, and it's just great. And I paid like, I don't know, $700 for it, $650.
The bike that we had stolen was a Giant. That was but like I said,
yeah,
cool electric blue one.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Hi, Scott Nelson. How are you doing?
Much better now that I'm off that damn conference call.
Every time you can get off a conference call except this one is better.
Well, my boss is French, and God love him, but you know, just goes on forever. Filling the air with words, and it's like you say something over and over and over again until people don't understand it anymore.
He probably can't speak English.
Well, no, he does fine. I mean, it's not native proficiency, but he does just fine. I've known him for, I don't know, 10, 15 years now.
Scott, I think Scott and I and Uta, any of the other ones of us who are speakers of second languages will attest. Sometimes you have to repeat things to make sure you said it right the first time.
Well, yeah, or get use a lot of gestures. You know, find other ways, talk around what you don't know exactly how to say. That works.
Is that different from the first language most of us have?
No, that's what I was just gonna say. Not at all. I tell people, they're like, wow, you speak Arabic. Why'd you learn Arabic? I said, well, because when you're talking, you sound stupid in English, you just sound stupid. But when you talk and you sound stupid in Arabic, people go, wow, you speak Arabic. So that's why I learned.
It's a good reason.
And Scott, you're Korean, right?
Yeah, I spent a year learning Korean.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I can still recognize things. I took a walk with the dog a week or so ago, and we have a Korean church in town, at least one. And, you know, I could read certain things on the sign because the alphabet's really simple for Korean.
I always laugh, and you're in the same boat, I think, there are certain things that I'm incredibly fluent in Arabic, right? And it's military stuff and politics and all of that kind of diplomacy stuff. But if you were to ask me to give you directions to get somewhere, or take me to a market and ask me what the names of foods were, I would be completely lost. Whereas in Spanish, because I was 16 when I went to Spain, my Spanish, I'm very fluent in Spanish. I can speak Spanish really well, but there's so many words that I just don't know. And because when I was 16, I didn't care. So, you know, I have a completely, I guess the English bridges the gap where I can be sort of smart in English.
But at the end, you know, my French is not very good. I know some words, but you know, would never stop me to go to French because it's a very good motorcycle area as well.
Yeah.
And you don't need it really because you can talk with hands, with the meaning. You know, you know, you show what you want. You not really need the words to come.
But in France, how, are they amenable to you trying to speak French? Do they like it when you try to speak
French?
They like
it, yes, especially from the German because
okay.
you know, from the past. But they feel if they have the feeling you try to say something, it doesn't matter how many words they love you at all. You know, because. But when you are like a little bit kind of arrogant and think, oh, they have to understand, especially when you are in the close to the border, then they don't like that at all.
Sorry.
Nope, go ahead, Alan.
Phrases as a biker are 2 beers, please, and can I have the bill? That's all you need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I went to Germany to translate for work for Arabic, actually. And I walked in and I introduced myself in Arabic, and the guy looked at me in English, perfect English, and said, "I have my master's degree from SUNY. I think I can handle this."
Nice.
And they sent me on my way and said, "Hey, you know, we've already paid for your trip. You've got 5 days in Munich." So I took that 5 days and tried to learn as much German as I could. And I was so proud of myself because I'd worked out a whole sentence, and I was walking into the bookstore and I was so proud. And I walked in and I said to the lady, "Ich möchte ein Buch mit deutsche Wörtern." And she looked at me and went, a book in English, a book with words in German. I think I have those. And I was like, okay, look. I was so proud of myself. I wanted a phrase book. A book with German words. I think I have those.
That was one theme we had last year when we was going to Hamburg with all, you know, with all the Americans in Hamburg. And Hamburg, everywhere in Germany, you have a different kind of accent, you know. So, and Hamburg is very clear. It's a very clear German at all. So, and they was really afraid that they cannot, you know, go wherever they wanted because of the language. But it's like every big city in Germany, everybody speaks. It's so international now that people speak English very easily. So you don't have to be worried at all.
Unless the older generation are more rural places. I've got
Yeah.
a friend from Bavaria, and you know, you got the Plattdeutsch or the, you know,
Yes.
Bayerische Deutsch, and it's like sounds like he's talking with his cheeks full of cotton.
Yes. And the good thing is, if he's talking with in his slang with somebody from North Germany, they don't understand each other. Oh, look
I had to in Tennessee. I had to translate for my wife when we stopped at a roadside barbecue place, and we're theoretically both speaking English, but she's a California girl, and it was hilarious. She could not get through that southeastern accent.
Ask me sometimes when I'm sitting in Rotary meetings and they starting talking, and I'm, what? You know.
David, who's your friend?
Hi. Wave.
Say hi.
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 What is your name?
What's your name? You don't have a name.
You don't have a name? That's so sad.
Ella.
3 years old. Okay. Hi, Elena. And you're 3 years old.
Ella, yeah.
That's your age.
Like this. In German, you would
How old are
like
you?
this.
Like this.
3.
3.
3.
I'm not. I'm this.
She's not 3.
We are only a little bit older, you know.
And I heard that you have 2 sisters.
Or siblings.
Olivia. Who's 2.
Olivia.
Olivia.
There you go.
And Madeline, who's 9.
Madeline. My sister's name is Olivia too.
Oh, really? She has a
That's a funny
sister.
name, Olivia too.
Yeah,
Olivia also.
yeah. She has the curliest hair you've ever seen, except she just got out of the shower, so it doesn't show.
Okay.
That's it.
A
Mock
wonderful
athletically challenged ones.
Makes it easy,
Yeah.
my opinion.
My daughter had curly hair until she was about 4, and I cut it short and it grew back straight.
Yeah.
And she tells me that all the time because all of her friends have curly hair.
Her mother,
That
her
must have done it.
grandmother,
Those
they all had
scissors that'll
curly hair,
straighten it
so-
right out.
Was, yeah.
Oh,
Hi,
Olivia,
this
right?
must be Olivia.
Olivia, yeah.
Look, lady saying hi.
Hi.
Olivia.
Wait.
Wave hi.
Look at this. So cute. So many strangers, right?
Ben, be careful. If you keep feeding them, they turn into teenagers.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Very dangerous.
I know.
Very.
And then they eat it even more.
I'm not hearing what they're saying. There you go. Yep, they're cute.
Be young and have your whole life ahead of you. Wow. Lots to learn.
See, Deb,
So
we
many
have
years left to disappointment.
My daughter's down not too far from Keith right now. She's in Duck, North Carolina. Keith, one of theirs. She's hanging out on the beach. I feel like it's nice. Her friends' family, we and her friends' families have all done a pretty good job at trying to get a vacation in while also being socially distant. So you can at least go hang out at the beach or in the mountains without anybody around.
You guys, I have a question. Do you know how it works right now when you go to New Mexico? Do we have to go in quarantine when we go to New Mexico, or what do we have to do?
Mexico?
New Mexico.
Oh, New Mexico? I don't think any state, well, I don't know.
Is there a problem
Anybody
when I
hear
go
me?
to in the other country, you know, that I have to stay and wait 2 weeks in quarantine, or can I go through with a bike?
Oh, no, you should be able to go right through New Mexico without a problem.
Yeah, but
Not-
I have to stop. I cannot, you know, I have to go in a hotel. I cannot go in one day through New Mexico. It's not possible.
Yeah, but
Actually-
I haven't. Go ahead, Scott.
Terry,
I was going to say. Yeah. I think with hotels, you're probably okay as far as professional cleaning.
Yeah, I don't think there's any requirement for quarantine that I've seen. What you can do is go on the New Mexico state website. It's probably newmexico.gov. And they'll let you know if there's any quarantine restrictions. So like I was saying earlier, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, if you're coming from Virginia, you have a mandatory 2-week quarantine. So like for us I have some people who work for Customs and Border Protection who travel between Virginia and New York, and we can't do that right now because they have to quarantine. So, but if you go to the New Mexico website, they should have that on there if there are any restrictions. I haven't seen it.
I just went to New Mexico and I had to leave very quickly because they said I got there. The next day, the governor said any out-of-state people have to self-quarantine for 14 days or else they will be quarantined.
you see,
So I went to Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, let them put me up in a hotel for 2 weeks in New Mexico.
Also, Terry, that is a rotary. Is that a rotary vehicle sitting outside your window there? Because I saw you have the Rotary Opens Opportunities thing behind you. Or is it what is it? Is it a background that you have?
yeah, it's a background. Thank you, David, by the way.
He's being a smarty pants.
Yes, apparently I have a green screen that I do a thing every week or 3 times a week. And apparently I moved the computer up to the kitchen, so I'm cooking and the green screen's not behind me. But apparently a little bit of the.
Well, so what it looks like you have a Rotary Opens Opportunities mural outside of your kitchen on the fence.
He's got, instead of the virtual background, he's got the augmented background.
Yes.
Hi, Alan.
Alan, thanks again for joining us.
My pleasure. I'll try and make next month. Ride safe, everyone, and keep well.
Likewise.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
See you later.
Keep well in your Bettgestell.
I've also moved to the kitchen table office this week. I needed a change of scenery. Could probably do a background. Probably nothing I'd care to be on a recording with though.
What I not like at the backgrounds you can make in is when you're moving, it looks a little bit, you know, I like more the natural background. I don't like this, you know, with the pictures and then you see only the face, and when you're moving, it looks really, you know, when John's in the meeting and then he's moving, you don't see really much from him anymore.
Yeah, that's when you really need to use a green screen. You know, it makes it so much better.
Yes.
I like this office because it has a dog.
That's
The
nice.
normal office does not have a dog.
David Yenneral had, where's David's dog? He has a cool dog. It looks like
And I've got my 2 rides out here by my outdoor office.
nice.
Why haven't those been stolen yet?
Because he's not
I
in
don't know.
Colorado.
Let me get comp on it first. Then it's fine. I'm trying to sell. I'll probably sell those too to keep to make the
You don't
GS a
want
primer.
it. Here
What's
we
that?
go. You want to
Let's see.
play?
Let's see if she'll come over here and talk to us. Here, Dania.
Rory.
Oh, here we go.
Just get
How
us.
cute.
Doggy.
She's she's not playing because she's looking for food.
Oh, there are 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can only do that on the phone. When I have the WebEx on the desktop computer with the external monitor, Whiskey gets scared. He doesn't want to be anywhere near the monitor. I think he's like, how'd you get those people in that box?
Yes.
My dog is named after the city that I was an exchange student to. Her name is Dania. Because at the Pound, her name was Diamond. And I was like, no.
Too common. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is Dania?
She's here. She was just not cooperating. Let's see if she'll cooperate.
Oh, the city. Where's the city?
Oh, where? Oh, the dog. That's all I care about is the dog. Dania is about 50 kilometers south of Valencia, right on the coast, on the
Okay.
eastern coast. It was not the worst place to be an exchange student, not by a long shot. I had a single host mom and a host sister who was 20, and my host sister was a hostess on the ferry that went from the mainland to Ibiza and Mallorca. So I got to go to Ibiza and Mallorca a couple times. I went skiing down in Malaga, and I transferred out of the normal high school into a tourism college, and I went to school from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., which meant that I went to the club from 10:05 until about 9 a.m. So
that's the proper way to do it.
I learned, after I found out that they were not going to give me any credit for high school back home, I was like, okay, then I don't need to be in high school classes. And we changed it, which was awesome. But I think I probably learned more Spanish than any of the other people. But we were in a fairly small town, and there were 30 American and Canadian exchange students from both Rotary and another program, I can't remember. So it was interesting. There were some that just clicked up and they only spoke English all the time and they didn't learn any Spanish. And
yeah, it's kind of tragic.
I didn't do that. I definitely learned a lot of Spanish.
I want to go the opposite way with that, Amanda, where umbrella is about to blow away here, where instead of going as a youth exchange, I want to go as an in-person exchange.
Wouldn't so I mean, I want to do like grown-up exchange, like once my kids are both out of the house. I posted something on Facebook yesterday. Barbados has a program right now where they're offering a 1-year, no strings attached tourist visa, and you can in and out as much as you want. And what they're trying to do is get people to come down and work remotely from Barbados. And I was like,
yeah. Now, you guys, there is a Rotary program that takes a fellowship, I guess, that takes, professional career people over to for a 3 or 4 week period to exchange ideas with.
The audio's kind of
educational kind of idea that there is a program for Rotary that does that.
I would love to know more about that, Terry.
Or
you want to send something in the chat or email.
Or you can make this friendship exchange also, right?
Well, like Amanda, though, I got to kick the kids out of the house first.
I'll have to research it.
I'm going to send it to you. It's actually, it's something I was looking into. It's the Professional Development Exchange.
Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds really cool.
Maybe we should all do it. I think it wouldn't be hard for us with all of our connections to set up some kind of unofficial exchange. The only issue is right now you can't get visas. So,
Well, that's hopefully a very temporary thing.
Yes. I
I'm
believe
glad I got.
after
Go
the
ahead.
election, I hope after the election it will be getting normal.
yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm glad I got to go riding over there last year again before this all got shut down. And Uta, when you're talking about riding in France, it was funny. As a French and German club that Dirk is running
Tell
over
me if
there.
you go there.
Yeah, and what was kind of funny about it is the people who are French said that the Germans, they keep the country a little too clean and things too well repaired, and it looks like Disney, like a theme park. I think they like more the French way, where things are a little more piquant, a little run down, more charming.
But honestly, I have a friend, she lives in Bavaria, and she was not really enthused about it, that we want to make a trip to South France. And then we said we was there with 5 motorcycles. So we met over there, we rented a house on a wine farm, and who know the area a little bit is, it's so delicious. You go to the little wine farmers, you take some wine.
Yeah.
It's so delicious. It's so cheap. You buy for a container, maybe €5 or something. It's amazing, right? So, and then you can go to Avignon or the Mont Ventoux, this big mountain over there where the Tour de France goes over there all the time. So it was, and and we had the German license plate in the back for sure. And she had the experience, when in the 80s, that the French was not really happy when the German comes over, but now it changed a lot about that. So when we came to, the circles, the traffic circles, and we was 5 machines, they waited until we can go all through it. They let us in, all 5 of us, it was
Nice.
really nice. And then the markets, I love the markets. When you go over the market and you can smell all the fresh herbs and everything, it's so amazing. And when you do that with a motorcycle, it's only cool,
Yeah.
And the asphalt in French, it's so good. It's a very rough one. You can make so much more speed. It's only cool.
But it's a big part of why I joined this club at all, is so that I still got this dream of motorcycling around Europe for a summer sometime, when professional kids allow me to go over there.
Yeah, let me know when you go.
I appreciate that. I
Definitely
will.
interesting to join you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're doing their Sternfahrt in where are they going this year? I forget where, but there's a group in Darmstadt that I've worked with, and I've ridden with them several years to various locations. We did Odenwald. We've done.
That's close to my area where I'm
Oh
from.
yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. All
I
those
worked at
perfectly maintained roads. Yeah.
Yes, I know. But Odenwald right now, they have a big arguing or discussion. They want to close very popular areas over the weekend and over some holidays for the motorcycles, because they think the motorcycles are too loud. There was a big demonstration, I think 3 weeks ago, over 6,000 in my hometown. There was no traffic downtown possible because it was full with motorcycles. So it's
Yeah, I think I saw something about that.
yeah, it's pretty big theme, because with all the Corona stuff and everything, now they're starting to want to recommend things. This is not okay. There's no and there's no law for that at all, because they say it's too loud. Because when you go through these little towns and the narrow streets and you open up the gasoline, that sounds nice for you and for me, but for the people they live there, no.
Right.
And so if everybody would a little bit looking also for other people, I think that would be easier for everybody from us. But there are areas like Odenwald, you don't want to live there over the weekend, believe me, some towns.
I'd imagine, yeah. Yeah, we were there. I think my favorite was when we were in Faschina, Austria.
Have they
And
been fed?
just amazing.
Hey,
The
have they been
views.
fed? Have they been fed?
Ah,
Everybody looks a little bit.
feeding the
Scott,
dogs, David.
Scott, I put a link in the chat for the Friendship Exchange,
Thank you.
other exchange programs. The Friendship Exchange
Okay.
is the one you're talking about. And that's the one
Okay.
you do. Well, you can do that as a whole family, actually.
Well, the 17-year-old will hopefully be moving out as soon as he graduates high school, assuming he graduates high school. And the 19-year-old is already out, and I just took him off the insurance. It's like, oop.
Took him off. Okay.
the motor insurance, not the
Yeah, I was
health
gonna say
insurance.
car insurance. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I looked at the bill and it's like, why is he still on here? He doesn't live here, and he's not going to be back here because he's not in school and he's not working. So, universal parental deal.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. I've got Maggie here in high school this year. We found out at 2:00 this morning, the board finally came to a determination that they're going to do 100% distance learning for our county.
Yeah,
Starting
yeah.
in
That's out
September.
here too. My wife's a teacher, right? And besides having a high schooler, I've also got, my wife was a teacher, and so a big concern out here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it here too.
I was trying to figure out, like, I was all for hybrid learning, and I understood what they were trying to do. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, what happens if one kid in the class gets it? Right? And I have to quarantine the entire class, and then they're all going to be in remote working or remote learning anyway. So yeah, they came to that determination last night.
Yeah.
Pros and cons to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's definitely some emotional toll that's on the kids with, having to be
I mean,
isolated.
South Carolina promoted kids that, attended 2 virtual meetings, and then they were gone for 3 months, and every child was promoted regardless.
Yep.
We did. I was actually really, part of the reason we live in this county was for the schools to begin with, but I was really impressed with how well they were able to turn around a remote learning program. It worked well for Maggie, and that doesn't mean that it works well for everybody. And I'm not ignorant of the fact that there are kids in this district who don't have easy access to internet, right? I know that.
Right.
That holds true with every district. But they actually, any kid who was on free or reduced lunch in our county had the opportunity to come pick up a hotspot. They provided a free hotspot for them so they could get Wi-Fi. So, yeah,
If you look even at that compared to the cost of just maintaining facilities, it's like, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. If nothing else, the kids they'll have more experience to talk about than we did. We had typical high school experience. Who wants to hear about that? Boring. Right? Yeah. So, well, guys, it is 8:00. I don't mind leaving this open. I'm going to call the official meeting to a close because we did so much meeting tonight. And let's see. I'm going to pick on... Who do I want to pick on tonight? I can't pick on Deb because she's brand new. I'll do it. I don't feel like picking on anybody. So, Rotary's 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the
truth?
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will it build
goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth, will it be
Beneficial to all concerned?
Oh my gosh, I remembered them all. And fifth, will
it be fun?
That is the most important one for Deb to remember. It will always be fun. So thank you again for joining us tonight, Deb. You guys, I really don't mind leaving this on if you guys want to chat amongst yourselves.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to seeing you all again.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming. It was nice to meet you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Keith. Keith, please let me know if you need me to step in with anything for the, I think Linda was working on some stuff to help you out with the membership committee.
Right, we'll chat later on, but yeah,
Okay.
I think I don't think we're gonna have a problem.
Okay,
No,
cool.
I set him up as the executive secretary.
Perfect.
That worked,
Thank you.
Linda? Linda, that worked?
Yeah, let me do it. So we'll see. I say give it a couple days till it uploads to RI and see what happens.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate
I
that.
didn't think they'd allow that, but that's good.
Yeah. That's perfect.
So,
All right, you guys, see ya.
See you later, Terry.
have a fantastic evening.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.